Everyone, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show how to create and how to do some operations with AWS S3 bucket. I have done a previous video how to create buckets and how to do some operation in a bucket through the console, and in this video I'm going to show how to do that from AWS CLI. Also in another video I have shown how to download, install and configure AWS CLI in your terminal. In this video, I'm going to use the command prompt, but it's the same even in the other operating system or in the other terminals that you might feel more convenient to use. First, we log in our account, and let's go to the home page. And since I have been using a lot, my S3 bucket service shows in a console, but if you don't find it, you go to the storage. And here are listed of different services, and we choose the S3 one. I have already previously created a bucket, and so I have a file that is in my bucket. And in this video, I'm going to try to copy, to delete, and to do some simple operations and to create a bucket. Things that you can do in the console, but also you can do even through the terminal. I have even created a small notepad that's going to help me to do all these operations through the console. There is also even tutorial in AWS web page. You can find here how they give steps how to create the AWS commands or AWS S3 commands, and how to operate and how to do more operations through the terminal. This is very interesting, especially if you use them very often. You're gonna build even a different skill that's gonna allow you to manage your account through the command prompt. So first, let's start, and always make sure that the AWS is installed. We click AWS version, and it gives the version of the AWS CLI and some information about the package. If AWS is not installed in your terminal, you will not be able to run different commands. And the first command that I'm going to run is to create a bucket. AWS, I'm going to create a simple private bucket, so I'm not going to make a complicated bucket with more permissions, but a simple one. So the command is AWS S3 the service, MB is the command to create, and also it needs a path, and the name of the S3 that's the path that is in the AWS, specified in AWS, and we need a name for the bucket. So tutorial tut sys. So let's call this name the bucket, and we'll run it. And as you can see now, my bucket is created. If I want to see what bucket, and let's upload here just to make sure. And here we have our Tutsis, our new bucket. It is private, and it is created in Oregon. If you don't specify the region, automatically it's gonna create in the region that you have configure your terminal or your user that you are using your command prompt. But if we create another bucket, let's say tut CS, and we specify region, and let's try we create another region. Let's suppose it's in California, and we copy the code. Here is the region, and here is the code for that region. We copy and we paste it. So we created another bucket that has this name, and if you upload, you're gonna see that has different region. So this is not the same as the one before. The Tutsis was in Oregon. By default, usually takes the configuration that you have been doing in the terminal. And when you want to specify the different region, you put the tag region and you take the code of that region and you specify in your command. If we want to see and list what kind of buckets we have in our account, we run the command AWS S3 and ls. And as you can see, it is 3 buckets that they are shown even in my console, and they have the date and the time when they are created. If we want to see what is inside a certain bucket, for example, in this bucket here, I have these documents. If you want to check what is inside your bucket, you run AWS S3 ls, which is the subcommands, and then you specify the bucket with a path S3, and then we specify the name of the bucket. So we copy, we paste, and we run it. So as you can see, now it lists, since I have only one document saved in this bucket, it lists even the name of the documents and the date and the time when this file was uploaded. So this is what is these are kind of basic commands that allows you to get information through your terminal, what you have created in your console. The other thing is that you can copy a document in a bucket. So let's suppose that the documents here in AWS pricing documents that is saved in the location document, I'm gonna upload to my bucket that I just created. There are different ways how you can do it. First, you can locate your you can specify the path of the file of the folder where your document is saved. So since it is in a document, I have to specify the location. So the location of my file is in this path. Or if you don't specify that in the terminal, then you have to specify the path of your file in your command. Depends on how easy it is for you. You can use both of the methods. But since I have already located the terminal and now in this location I can find my file, I just run the copy command. So is AWS S3 is the service, CP is the copy, and now I copy the name of the file. It is very important to write the full name with the extensions, and then I write the destination of the file. So in this way is the bucket, and I save in Tutsis. Copy. So is AWS the cloud provider, S3 is the service, CP is the subcommand that in this case means copy. AWS price documents is the name of the document that I'm going to save there, and here is the path already of this document, and S3 to Tutsis is the name of the bucket. I run it, and you see it's uploaded. If I go to this, I go to the buckets, and let's see here. I see that the document is already in the bucket. So let's go and check what is inside this file through the terminal. Copy. And as you can see, now it shows that my file is here in this bucket, and this is information that you can get even through the terminal. The other thing is to delete the buckets and the file. There is something that you have to understand in the operation in the bucket is that you cannot delete a bucket that is not empty. First, you have to delete the objects or the things that they are inside the bucket, and then to delete the bucket. That's if you try to delete a bucket that is not empty, it's going to show errors. And this is a method that is set up to be careful not to lose information. So first you set up the objects and then the bucket. So to delete an object of a document, there are 2 different commands, and if you go here, deleting the buckets is RB and RM is for the objects. So first we delete the objects and then we delete the bucket. So with AWS S3, RB, RM is for the object, and then we specify the bucket to these, and then is the document. So this is the whole path of this document that is saved in AWS bucket. We run it, and as you can see, it confirms it's deleted. If we check what is inside the bucket, it's going to show nothing. And if you check here, let's refresh it, it is nothing. So the bucket is deleted. The object that is saved in that bucket is deleted. Now we can try to delete the bucket. So let's try this. Let's try to write from the beginning. So is AWS S3 RB is for the bucket S3, and then we write the name of the bucket. So the name of the bucket that we want to delete is this one. So as you can see, is remove the bucket, and if we want to do a last, if we want to see what kind of buckets, the list of the buckets that is created and that they are in my account, it doesn't show the one that is already deleted. So this kind of operations you can find here in tutorials, and you can read even to give permissions through the terminal. So it's even it gives here even the information. Where was that? The recursivity. That means if you want to perform a certain command in all the files or objects under a specified directory, we use the recursivity. So recursivity means that this command is going to be available. It's going to be affecting your bucket and also everything that is inside your bucket. So here are very interesting operations that you can do in the bucket. In the video below, I'm going to share even the link of these tutorials, and you can try to perform different operations. Let's try to move a bucket. So as we can see, to move an object from a bucket, as you can see here, I have two buckets. Let's show again. If I go to the bucket here, I have already, oh, I wrote it wrong. It's not gonna run. Oh, it worked. Okay, so it shows that I have already something saved in this bucket, and this bucket, this object that is saved in this bucket, I'm gonna move to this bucket. So for this, I'm gonna run AWS S3 move command. Then I'm gonna write the source bucket, the location, the source location of the file. So I'm gonna write S3 to be more specific. Sometimes they don't require the whole path, but sometimes just to be more secure, to be more specific, we specify even the location and the name of the file. So that is the location of the document, and we're gonna move in a new location, S3, and then we move here in this bucket. So what happened here is that I have an AWS S3, which is the command that the group of commands that they operate in the bucket service, and move is the subcommand. That means that you are moving a document from one location to another. This is the location, this is the source location of the file, S3 bucket, S3 bucket, and the name of the bucket and the full name of the document. And this is the destination where the file is going to be saved. So it's S3 and the name of the new file. So let's check the new files, what they have. Let's check the file, first file. It says that there is nothing in the file that used to have this document, because moving is different from copy. Moving is changing the location. So after running the command, the file doesn't show anymore in this bucket name. But if we try the other bucket to see what is inside the other bucket, you're going to see that the document has already changed its location. From this bucket is moved to this bucket. Sometimes you can run the command like this with no specification of S3 // but I would recommend to write the full path of your bucket in this way, so you don't mistakenly locate or do something that might not be correct in your command and might run through errors, or might do something that is not the things that you really want to run through the command. So this is something very basic and simple that you can do through the buckets and through the AWS CLI, just to create a simple private bucket, and then to run, to copy, to delete, or to move different objects from one bucket to another. Let's see if we can try different things that they recommend here. So we already delete, we moved, we copy. You can synchronize here. If you can see here, even the synchronization, synchronize the content of a bucket and the directory of a content of two buckets. So it is mostly about the synchronization. So this is for the frequency that you can use as an option. That's for granting permissions if you want to make a more specific file. And here you are some examples that you can try to use different operations through the command line. So this is pretty much what we have been creating. And if you go here in the console and you refresh, you're going to see that there are made some change. This bucket is already not existed anymore. We have two buckets. If we open this bucket, we're going to see that now the location of the file is changed. It changed even the time and the date when it was modified. And if we open the other file, we see that there is nothing saved in this file anymore. So you can try to delete it. AWS. Let's copy here. So it's RM is, or B is for the and we go S3 here, or B S3. Something went wrong here. So it's removed. Sometimes we have to be very careful when we write the command. And then we have AWS S3. We have only one bucket now. And if we go and we copy the name of this bucket, it's going to show what is inside. So now we delete the object of a bucket. So it's delete. Actually, if you have a folder, it's going to delete the whole thing. Now we delete the it doesn't need a space here. So it is not empty. So if you can go to the bucket, there is another document here. And now AWS S3 ls tut. Let's try to delete one by one. Sometimes it's better this way, since depending on the permissions of the file, and you might run through different problems even when you run the recursivity. So I would recommend better to delete one by one the files, and to make sure before you delete that is the proper file that you want to delete. It's deleted. So we do L S3RB. We delete now the bucket, and it's removed. If we check the list here, we're going to see that it's empty. And if we check our console, it's still empty. Anyway, you can try to do different commands with recursivity. I actually don't use it. Usually I delete one by one the file before I make sure that everything is deleted. I don't delete the whole bucket. Sometimes you might mistakenly delete important information. So and that's why even you might have even problems when you want to delete the whole thing in your when you delete the whole thing, or you want to implement the whole command in everything that is saved in your bucket. So as you can see now, when I go to the bucket, it's empty. Everything that I have been creating and operating is deleted from the system. It's very important to delete unnecessary information. So in this way, you can keep clean your account and manage better your services and files, and also it means even less money since you're going to use even less resources.